phenomenal game. What college basketball is all about.
I'm Rick Croy, head men's basketball coach, CVU. This is the road to WAC Vegas.
Ladies and gentlemen, the road ends here for our final in-studio episode of the Road to WAC Vegas presented by Hercules Tires. We did it! A few cancellations here and there, but there's only one weekend left between us and WAC Vegas. I'm Rachel Vigil. This weekend, it's a biggie, especially for Utah Valley and Grand Canyon, who are fighting for that #1 spot in the WAC on the men's side. And lucky for us, they go head-to-head this week. Set a calendar reminder for 7 p.m. Mountain Time Friday and Saturday night as UVU heads to Phoenix to take on the Lopes. It'll be the battle of the big man as WAC Ticketsmarter Player of the Week Fardas Amack and Evan Cole go up against Alessandro Lever and Osbjorn Midtgaard. This is a game you will not want to miss. The top 2 spots are up for a bye in Vegas. Check out those games on ESPN3. California Baptist sits in the #3 spot in the standings at 5-5 on the season. Their last conference series was a split against GCU, and they'll play Seattle U on Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific time on ESPN+. As our WAC Spotlight game of the week, the Red Hawks are led by Darian Trammell, who leads the WAC in scoring, while CBU's top scorer is guard Ty Rao. SU's last conference series was also a split against Grand Canyon. I'll be sitting down and chatting with Lancers head coach Rick Croy coming up after the break. New Mexico State would have played Chicago State this weekend. However, the Cougars did opt out of the season, and due to COVID concerns in the beginning of the year, the matchup between the Aggies and Dixie was postponed until this weekend. NM State will travel to St. George to take on the Trailblazers starting at 7 p.m. Mountain Time on the WAC Digital Network both Friday and Saturday. Last series on the slate before Vegas is Tarleton at UTRGV. After NM State put on a dominant 71-58 performance against the Texans on Friday night, they bounced back and handed the Aggies a 64-55 loss. Billy Gillespie's team will take on UTRGV this weekend. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll talk with CBU head coach Rick Croy.
The road to WAC Vegas runs through WACSports.com. Get all the content you want, all in one place. If you follow one team or all of them, with live broadcasts exclusively on the ESPN family of networks. And behind-the-scenes access on WAC social media. Don't miss the key plays. For insights from the coaches and players, the 2021 Hercules Tires WAC Basketball Tournament, March 10th through the 13th at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas.
Welcome back into the road to WAC Vegas. Excited to have Rick Croy, CBU men's basketball head coach, with us. Coach, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Let's talk. Vegas is next week. That's hard to believe. How excited is your team to play in typically a year they may not be able to?
Incredibly excited. This is March. This is what you live for, and we're very grateful that we get to play in the tournament.
How do you approach this week or WAC Vegas, knowing that you can't go to the NCAAs, but you obviously still want to win the tournament?
Well, there's so much to compete for. You know, we want to finish our regular season well. We've got a really close group that loves competing together. So that's the first thing that we're focusing on. And then, you know, moving forward to the tournament, like I mentioned, we're grateful for the opportunity, and it is another opportunity to show well and get better and improve our program and create some moments.
The last conference game you played was against GCU, where you were able to get a very close win, and it came down to free throws pretty much. How did those moments help go for the tournament?
Well, I mean, for one thing, you know, when you have a team that loves playing together and loves competing together, you don't get any credit for that unless you finish games. And you know, for us to have that locker room, we respect GCU's program at the highest level. And that's a very, very tough place to go in and get a win at, especially on the second night of these unique back-to-backs. So we were really excited to share in that in the locker room. And then I think, you know, you try and move it forward and you grow. Your confidence increases. You know that you can beat anyone on any night. And that's an exciting thing, and I think that's why it's going to be a great WAC tournament. I think our conference has as much parity as any conference in the country. Each program has a lot of belief, and it's going to be who plays the best basketball.
A thing we've seen a constant throughout this entire season has been those back-to-back series and not getting wins both nights. How do you go forward into this weekend to hopefully get 2 wins?
You know, I think the biggest thing for us has just been to focus on game one. You know, we try and put our best foot forward on game one, and then kind of collect ourselves after that night and talk as a staff and as a program and figure out what adjustments we need to make. You know, and sometimes that's those game twos have been tough, and we've also found some great moments on that second day. So I think it's one of those things. I don't know if you can ever truly figure it out. You know, it's just like trying to prepare your team to play the best they can every night. You put your best foot forward. Everyone comes together. We make sure we're all pulling in the same direction. You just keep fighting and scrapping. And you know, I'm very thankful that our group has done that the entire way. I think this journey in the pandemic has either, you know, exposed in a good light or in a bad light if your group is in it for the right reasons. And our group definitely has been, and they've been committed through pauses, through highs, through lows, through the plateaus. And it's been a real fun journey with these guys, and we're very, very happy to represent CVU in the WAC tournament.
What has been the most challenging part of playing during a pandemic?
You know, I think the pauses. I think those, you know, everyone's talked about that, but you know, the isolation of that can be really difficult. You know, I think our guys have handled, you know, when you really look at day in and day out what they've been able to do, they're in classes online, and then they show up to the facility and they pour into our team, and there's not a tremendous amount of fanfare, and you know, that's why we're appreciative of what you guys do. And there's an online presence, a social media presence, but you know, when you walk into that facility to compete, you better be intrinsically motivated. You better love, you know, watching and seeing your teammates have success, and it's exposed the teams that are pure in that journey, and in probably a tough way, those that aren't. So I think the pauses have been the toughest part, but you know, I think we're very fortunate that we were able to get through some of that stuff, you know, at the right time.
Who's the biggest hype man on the bench?
Tobin Kuhn is an incredible leader for us. He, from day one that he stepped into our program, he's a junior college transfer. He's a local student athlete from Riverside Poly High School, but he went to Citrus College, and he's been a great leader for us, not just in terms of hype, but in terms of real leadership, helping guys prepare. He's a great competitor, and we're really looking forward to him continuing to build his leadership in our program, but he's been tremendous.
Gorjak Gak has also had a phenomenal year, third in the conference in rebounds. How has he lived up to expectations from this year?
You know, I think he's exceeded expectations. He went through and endured a lot of adversity at Florida on the injury front. You know, and that can really touch you up as a player mentally, and really impact your aggression level negatively. And he's been such a phenomenal competitor for us. And I think the best thing, you know, his practice habits, his joy, his appreciation for competing. I think sometimes when guys are young in their careers or early in their careers, when they don't get opportunities, and then they do, you know, I think early on they say, man, I love this. I'm so grateful. But it's another thing to live it the entire way. And that's what Gorjak's done in our program. I mean, he is truly competing in appreciation every single night and shows up to work every single day. His teammates absolutely love playing with him.
Tyrell has also had a phenomenal this year. He was big in the win over GCU with 19 points. Where have you seen the most growth from him this year?
Leadership. You know, he's always been a great competitor, going all the way back to his freshman year. Ty's made big shots throughout his career, but the biggest area of growth for him has been his leadership, his ability to move his teammates. You know, he's competed in a lot of tough environments. He's moving those experiences forward, shows up to work every single day. And just the investment that he's made in his teammates and bringing some of our young guys along. And, you know, he's a guy that you want to follow.
All righty, Coach. Well, thank you so much for hopping on with me, and best of luck this weekend.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Rachel.
No problem. Rick Croy from CVU men's basketball. When we come back, we're going to be talking a little bit of women's hoops. We'll be right back.
Power isn't born, It's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers, whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Welcome back to our final in-studio episode of the Road to WAC Vegas. We've already crowned California Baptist as our WAC regular season champion, as they still hold a perfect 12-0 conference record, and that streak held strong in non-conference as well, as the Lancers are 20-0 dating back to last season. They'll want to keep that streak alive as they will play Seattle U this Friday and Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific time on ESPN+. New Mexico State will head to the Windy City this weekend to take on Chicago State. The Aggies are coming off a 67-44 win over Tarleton last Saturday, and M State has guard Aaliyah Prince, who leads the team in points per game at 12.2. Tarleton is coming off 2 games against Utah Valley. With a 1-day break, the Texans will then play UTRGV on Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. Central on the WDN. The Vaqueros are coming off a close 53-50 loss against Utah Valley last Saturday night. Make sure to check out the WAC Twitter page to stay up to date with everything WAC Vegas. That does it for this episode and season of the Road to WAC Vegas in studio. We'll be in Vegas in just 1 week. See you guys there.